Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it, Who or What has the freedom of choice? Well, according to what life inspires me to share and how I see as my own experience, I look at it this way. The decisions that seems to be made through this instrument are not my decisions, are inspiration that comes from the very same source from which you find yourself making decisions or acting accordingly. Because you never know what is the next thought you're going to have. And every time that a thought comes in, I can observe the thought, and I see how I either act or not according to that inspiration. So obviously, I am not the one who is choosing the thought, therefore something is putting that seed in there, and I find myself acting accordingly. So, when we're talking about don't identify with the content of the mind, you, the character, cannot make that choice because you are a thought in all that there is. And all that there is what supposedly is dreaming all this. So it's like when you're dreaming at night, even in the dream where you think that you are there, you are not making choices in there. Because everything that you do in the dream is being dreamt by the mind that is dreaming the dream. So even though the mind projects itself in the dream, the figure in the dream by itself, because it's a projection, cannot make decisions. So decisions, or the freedom of choosing, are made by the mind that is dreaming it. So in this case, it could be said that you as well as me didn't have the choice to be here interacting in this way. But that which, call it source, which supposedly dreams all of this, is the one making the choice. You see? So that is what has the freedom of choice, if you call it that way. Now, the concern that usually comes up, and is very understandable, is that if that which is the one or the thing or whatever that is dreaming me, or which I am appearing in, if that is in charge of my life, that implies that I have no choice in the matter when it comes to wanting to know who I am or whatever I do. So if I'm destined to be a bad person, I will be a bad person. Well, it could be said that that is so. And at the same time, it could be said that that which is dreaming all of this, now it wants to wake up from it. And because of that, now is beginning to dream itself out of the dream, and that's why you and I find ourselves interacting in this way. Whether it's you and I, or you or whatever resource that helps you remember who you are. So that's why I say that this is motive for celebration, because before, when life was lived unconsciously because that was living it that way, now that is choosing to awaken from this dream, and because of that is using the instrument to remind itself of that. So it's irrelevant whether you or I have freedom of choice or not. That which is dreaming us, which is the one that has the freedom of choice, that's what it chooses, whether it goes to the left or to the right, or the dream looks in a particular way or not. That is now beginning or recognizing the fact that it can wake up from this dream, and is being reflected through the instruments, through the characters. When you're in bed and you're dreaming, when you're fully in the dream state, you're completely identified with the dream, and you're reacting to the dream. You find yourself very involved in it. But then when you start waking up from the dream, you don't keep fueling the dream anymore. You see, It's not like as you're waking up from the dream, you're trying to stay in the dream. Now you're recognizing that it's a dream, and then the desire to remain in the dream, it starts to fall, to fall away until you finally awaken from it. You see? Well, this is kind of what's happening in here. The desire of continue dreaming is sort of falling away, and this is a very interesting time because people feel like they don't belong here. And we don't belong here because we're not from here. You see, we are that which is all-encompassing, and again, because there's a conditioning about who we think we are, it could be there's going to be a transition. There seems to be a transitory space in which could be very disconcerting to a certain extent, because there's the residue of the me that wants to do something in the dream, wants the dream, who still think that there's things in the dream that may like, but doesn't have the energy to go for that. You see, it doesn't have the persistence, and it's very it's very disconcerting, because you see the people around you who seem to be persistent and they're going for what they think they want, or they're surviving, and we don't even have the strength to even survive, because there's no need to survive. Actually, what life is saying is that while you seem to be in this nightmare, I'll take care of maneuvering you around it, but just let go of everything. You will always have your daily bread. You will always have what you need, but not necessarily what you want, because what you want goes in accordance to the belief that you're a separate entity, and what life wants for you is to be free, to be truly happy, to be at peace. It's like the caterpillar before becomes a butterfly. You see, the caterpillar only see caterpillars around it, and he feels like, or it feels like that, is something wrong with him. But there's nothing wrong with him. It's just that he's about to let go of the limitation of a caterpillar so he could fly. But because the caterpillar doesn't know that it's a butterfly and it actually could fly, well, there's this fear of let go of this body because he thinks he's going to die, But in reality, he doesn't realize that he doesn't have a choice of letting go of the body or not. He's going to have to let go of the body because it's already written for the caterpillar. What happened is, in the ignorance, doesn't know that he's about to fly. You see, if you knew who you are right now, nothing of this world can cause you any suffering, and you'll be enthusiastic about that, because you know that you're far much greater than this. Doesn't mean you cannot enjoy the life experiences. It's that you now see it in a detached way. I don't hang on to the body thinking I want to hang on and live many years more. No, not at all. When I go to bed at night, I don't know if I'm going to wake up the next day, but I know that is the most precious thing. I don't have to know exactly how it is, but I know how rested I feel after a good night's sleep, So whatever that is must be awesome, right? Now, while I'm here in this dreaming state, so to speak, while I'm here doesn't mean that I can not enjoy the life experiences, but now they're seen differently. You see, there's not a pursuit for anything. I can see life throwing cookies in candy. If I watch a video, for example, of someone going sailing, I can see that sometimes the fantasy of being in a sailboat and everything, but it drops away immediately because I go back to the peace that is the most important thing, which is happening right now. You see, if life wants me to be on a sailboat, life will put me on a sailboat. As a matter of fact, I did live for a couple of weeks in a sailboat in California, and so I had those experiences, but it doesn't matter. Really what matters is that the peace in which I can rest is the most important thing, and then everything are details. I do music and I enjoy it while I feel the inspiration to do so, but I'm not pursuing it because I'm not thinking that that's going to give me anything. You see, I can see, let's say a woman that I can look and I said, well, she's attractive, and there's a part of me that could say, well, would it be nice to meet her or whatever, but the energy to go for that is not there, because even if I were trying to meet her, what am I going to do? Play a game? Play the role of, hey, how are you, whatever. I don't want to hold on to anything. But I do know, however, that if life wants me to be with someone, that someone will appear. And you see, the mind says, but you have to pursue it, you have to go for it, otherwise you'll be sitting there doing nothing. That's not has been my experience. My experience is that when there's something that I truly, or this, that when I say I truly desire, means that life wants me to have, life gives me the energy to go in that direction. You see, when it was time for me to record the last album, Love in Quarantine, life gave me the inspiration to put the studio together, and life gave me the inspiration to record all the songs, and I think that there are 14 or 15 songs or something in it, and one was written after the other one. And after all the songs were written and recorded, and it took time, I had to do the videos and everything, I did all myself, I played all the instrument, the whole enchilada, right? So, and the creative process was fun, and I enjoyed it. I was sitting here sometimes till 2 o'clock in the morning and recording. And then when all the songs were written and the album was finished, all of a sudden the energy of doing something with the music dropped completely. I could not get myself, actually the last few videos that I was making for those songs, it's in Spanish of course, and you can see them on a music Spanish channel, or go to my website, the musicoflove.com will take you there, because it's the same site, it's just English and Spanish, but you can see the videos in there. And I didn't have the energy I was kind of like forcing myself to finish them, just to finish the product. So that life taught me right there, okay, this project is finished. But I had all the energy for the whole year to record the songs and to do everything. I was very enthusiastic going to YouTube and finding out more about recording and learning about mixing and all that kind of stuff. It was fascinating. And now all this stuff is in a bin right there, because I don't need it anymore. Life doesn't want me to record music for a while. Now what I'm doing is taking some of the songs that are translated to English, going at the pace that life is leading me. It's not like I gotta get these songs done by this time. No, I flow. I see how life inspires me to do or not to do, and that's how life moves me. You see, it's very simple. So I do enjoy the life experiences. The only difference is that I'm not attaching myself to any of them. Again, not because I am making that choice, but because that is the choice life is making through this instrument. See? And there's a relaxation. I see how life is leaving me. And I do have all the seeming experiences most people have. I do have the desire to do things and the desire not to do something. Sometimes I feel lazy, sometimes I feel active. Sometimes the body feels fine, sometimes it doesn't feel fine. It doesn't matter. You see, life is happening, but there's a recognition that I am, and that is where these videos point to. These videos point to the I am, and in that space, which is what is, you see how life unfolds, thoughts appear, sensations appear, circumstances, all of that seem to appear, but does not affect the center, which is what you are, which is not a center itself. As a matter of fact, this idea of center is what the mind uses to give a sense of identity, because from the center seems to look outward. But in reality, we're not the center. We are the whole, we're wholeness. But that cannot be conceptualized. And yet, the closest to that is when I say to you, don't identify with any thoughts, because the thoughts are the one who said this is center, this is even wholeness, but don't identify with any thought, just be. And notice that when you don't identify with any thoughts, genuinely, you are at peace. You have to experience the peace that passes all understanding. You see? Because it has nothing to do with what happens or what doesn't happen. It has to do with beingness. So right now, if you don't identify with any thoughts, literally, you don't believe them, they will be there, that's fine. But if you don't believe any thoughts, you are experiencing directly the peace that this is pointing to. And when that becomes the most important thing in your life, not because you have chosen it, but because that is what is supposed to happen through you, then everything that I'm sharing here will make perfect sense. It's not that you're sacrificing anything, it's that you see how life is living you. If life wants me to make more music, I'll find myself making more music. If life doesn't want me to ever make music, I will never make music. If life wants me to write another book, I'll find myself writing another book. If life doesn't want me to ever write a book, I will not write a book. If life wants me to have a relationship with someone, whatever, if people may want to call it romantic, but I don't even know if that word means anything to me. But if life wants me to be with someone, then I'll be with that someone. If life doesn't want me to be with anyone, that's fine, because I'm not alone or lonely. I'm simply being, and if I don't believe the content of the mind, this is a wonderful experience. If life wants me to live in some place, I will live in some place. If life doesn't want me to live if it wants me to be here, I'll be here. But you see, if the mind is not fed with fantasies, then I see that life is, you see, and you are alive. Life is living you, and all that it needs from your part, again, is not your choice, it's the choice that life makes through you, and life is having you having this interaction between seeing you and I. So in this interaction, it could be said that life is suggesting that if you don't identify with the content of the mind, then you live happily, and life is full of surprises, and you find yourself having encounters you would never imagine, and you find yourself living a life that you could never possibly imagine, because it was not limited by the concept the mind has fabricated previously. And now everything is open. I don't have a future, because the future that most people think that they have, or their dream, is basically the past trying to repeat itself. If you say, hi, my dream is to go to France, well, the truth of the matter, that is not a future, that is a past that is trying to repeat itself. Why? Because somewhere you have learned about France, and now you have seen movies and pictures about France. You see, you're dragging the past, and now you project it into the future. So therefore you don't have a future, you just have the past, hopefully a little bit better or more colorful. But then that past, if you're in France, because if you don't know how to live the present moment, I'm just being, that France is going to get old again, and then you're going to want something differently. See, we never know how to be happy, because even though we experience some of those changes, we still, by the old conditioning of who we think we are, believing that the world is going to give us something, and when that doesn't satisfy us anymore, we got to keep chasing the next thing. All because we keep believing we're a separate entity. But when there's a recognition that I am, and I just simply rest in the peace that I am, I just see how life can surprise me. And you may not end up in France, but you may end up in some other place you never imagined with God knows who, but you know how to enjoy that because you're enjoying the present moment, because you're not letting the mind color it up with fantasies and thoughts about possibilities that are not happening right now. So the invitation with these videos, if you really look deep into it, is to be happy right now. That's it. Because this is all we have. I don't have anything else. I don't know if my next breath is going to be there. But I know that I am. And that's where we're resting in. This is the invitation. These videos are not to change your human experience. It's to not be distracted by it, so you know that what you are is what is. And if you don't identify with any thoughts, then you rest in what is. And this is something that the mind cannot grasp, cannot understand, because this is not for the mind. You see, this is beyond the mind. That's what somebody once says, if you want to know truth, you must be out of your mind. Not crazy in that sense, but for the world that is in the mind kind of thing, you will look like a crazy one, you know. But in reality, you're not the crazy one, you're the one who's recovering the sanity. That's why I think the third book of the series, you're not crazy, you're just healing. You know, you're actually, the truth of who you are is right now. Put it to the test. Put it to the test. Don't try to conceptually understand it, but notice how you feel, or notice how the experience is felt when you don't identify with the content of the mind, even for a moment. Again, this is not a meditation per se or anything. It's just basically a recognition right now. Keep your eyes open if you want to. I don't want you to make this into something special. Just right now. Don't identify with any thoughts. Just don't identify with them. Let them be. You see? And notice. You are. You see? This is it. You are. And that you are is ever present. Is eternal. Never changes. You see? Now you're not distracted by the world of change. Because the world of change is just thoughts interpreting. That's all there is to it. You're being. And now observe that from that being, life happens, which is happening anyway. And see how life unfolds. Today, for example, put it to the test. You may think you know what's going to happen today. Well, are you willing to drop the possibility that you do know, so see how life surprises you? And not only that, you can put it to the test by knowing that you say, I know how life is going to go, and then you find yourself that it's not going to go that way. You know how you can put that to the test? Go to the supermarket and say, today I'm going to buy these 2 items. That's it. You may find yourself buying more than you thought. Or maybe you may not find yourself buying those 2 items. I don't know. See, life is full of surprises. And then let's see what happens throughout the day. Look how the things that happen you were not even expecting. You see? Well, you begin to rest in this space of being, and that's what you are. And that's invitation. And the mind will not be able to get it, because the mind always thinks that has to control everything. We were taught to control life, as if we could. But anyhow, this is just invitation. In the end, these videos are for you to experience the peace that is being so much thought after pursuing stuff. You have it, you are it. Not that you have it, you are it. You are that peace, you are that happiness, you are that joy, you are that love. There's nothing to look for nor to seek. If anything, whatever comes into your life can be complemented with the love that you are, because now you're extending it rather than trying to get it. There's nothing to get because you are wholeness. It's that you have forgotten about it. When you're dreaming at night, in the dream you may pursue everything that you think you want. Like in the dream you may pursue the bed where you're in right now, you see. But you don't have to pursue that bed. All you have to do is just withdraw the attention from the dream, and then the realization, oh my God, I'm already in the bed. Well, you are whole, perfect and complete. It's just that has to be recognized, and the way we do so is very simple. It's not by trying to figure it out. It's by withdrawing the attention from all that we think we know. You see? That's why this is simple. You are it. You are that. It's just that you're distracted. Nisargadatta Maharaj used to say, you're in bed and you will always be in bed. The problem is that you forget you are in bed. Why? Because the attention goes to the dream. Well, the invitation here is to recognize the peace in which you rest right now, when there's no identification with the content of the mind. So, don't believe anything you think, and you're free. And that's it. Well, this is the inspiration that came through this body, instrument, individual, whatever you want to call it. Hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.